Hi, this is E. I'm presenting a presentation for Java 8 language feature. Now, the topic is about interface default methods and static methods. With Java 8, I'm very happy. Java made some changes, even though there's gonna be a small chance I will use Java in game development, but it's still possible. So Java 8 has added a lot of language features to keep up with the mainstream of the programming world. One thing that caught my attention is the interface default methods. And to be honest and non-offensive, I think those guys who did this project during presentation were horrible. They didn't explain things well. And please don't tell them. So, in order to explain the problem, let's add a new interface. It's called class passable. I'm sorry if my keyboard is loud. It's a mechanical keyboard and it's expensive, but it doesn't mean I have the money to afford an extra quarter. So, okay. So in the interface class passable, Mr. Cummings says for every student who passes class, they need to implement do labs method, and they have to implement do exams method. Okay, now we add a new class, a concrete realization, if I want to sound smart. Big words, concrete realization. Implement, so for every student who wants to pass the class, they need to implement class passable, obviously. And for the labs, say this student did labs. Copy and paste, this student did exams. Would have been better with internet. Yes, internet rocks. Now we have to instantiate another string, a student E. E is a very terrible student and he knows it, but he still did all the labs and he still did all the exams, and hopefully he'll pass the class. So we can see E did all labs and he did all the exams. Perfect. And Mr. Cumming thinks this interface is impeccable. Okay, it's impeccable. It's perfect. So he shipped this interface within a jar and sent it to somewhere in China. Like you cannot find it. And maybe 2 years later, Mr. Cummings find out, no, this is not a perfect interface. It would be better if every student can also do presentations. Okay, now there are about 10,000 students in China. They just complained. They said, you didn't tell me this beforehand. I didn't know how to do presentations. Now you tell me to do presentations. I'm not even prepared. Okay, so now Mr. Cummings can just fail the students. But he's a very nice person, so he decided to give them a chance and say, okay, it obviously takes a lot of effort for you to re-implement this method. Takes 1,000 lines of code, right? For each student, there's a method to implement, so there's thousands of lines of code. So let me make this easy for you. He said, let me make the do presentations a default method and give it a body, and says, now he did presentations. Okay, so now students can no longer complain because they actually have the ability to do presentations. Let me run the program and let's see. E did presentations even though he never implemented the method. This is very beautiful because in the real world, there's a lot of code, like implement interface, and coding to an interface is always being considered a good coding practice. So if we were to change the interface, that would break a lot of code. So C# did this, like solved this problem by introducing extension methods. I think it's a very good thing. So the way that extension methods work is that every method essentially is a static method. Everyone, it doesn't matter if it's instance method, doesn't matter if it's static method by definition. That's just how language work. That's what Jamie told us. Like every method is essentially a static method, but for instance method, the static method has, for the instance method, it's still a static method, but the instance method in the deep down level has to take a reference of the instance that this method belongs to. So in C# when we use extensions, we can see the first variable is always like this, and the class name and the parameter name, and then just random parameters. And this reference is essentially telling the static method where this method belongs to. So it essentially didn't break the code, and it helps preserve the encapsulation in some level. And it's a very good thing to do. And they added a bunch of functionalities to the collection class, and to like help us to do stuff. I don't know. So this is good. We didn't break the class, didn't change the class, and every class has this ability to do. Every student has this ability to presentations. But let's say E is a very good student. He wants to do this presentation differently than anybody else. So he decided to override this method. Let's say E wants to deliver an awesome presentation. He did an awesome presentation. Exclamation marks. Exclamation something. Yeah, you know what this is. This marks. Okay. And okay, so now he's just doing irregular presentations, but after we change the code, he's doing awesome presentations. And this is kind of beautiful to me. But if we were to add utility methods to an interface, for example, a method that applies to every single like instance you can think of, like for example, we want to make a quiz method that quizzes everybody. So for students, like some students, they are diligent, they are good, so they do presentations, but some students, they don't think they need to do presentations like the bad ones. But for something like quiz and exams, we require everybody to do it. So let's add a utility method that says quiz everybody, right? Quiz everyone, and gives us a student and a body, and say student has to be quizzed. So let's say student, we do some magic to student. Just toString. That sounds good, toString. So now we can have more students, and this is E1, this is E junior, this is E's grandson, this is E's great grandson, and everyone can be quizzed by class Passable in case they want to enter this field. Oh, love IntelliJ. Okay, so now everyone was quizzed. Student, yeah, so we see this thing, they have been quizzed, and that's beautiful. And that's basically what interface default methods and static methods do. I don't see the reason we could use it in a school project or something, but it's definitely very useful in real world projects, and it's something we should know about. And thank you for the presentation. It's over. I hope you like it. Peace.